Hey everybody, a while back I had a subscriber ask if I could do a little piece on all the bridges between Bakersfield and Tehachapi. I thought, why not? Guess it's a little interesting. So that's what I'm going to do today, and I may not finish it today because it's actually starting to rain. Go figure. But I'll get started with this bridge behind me, which is the first bridge between Bakersfield and Tehachapi. I'm not going to cover just basic culverts. We do have a few of those between Bakersfield and here. Little tiny bridges over small ditches and canals and things. I'm not going to cover that. So let's get going on the bridges between Sandcut and Tehachapi. This was originally called the Walker Basin Creek Bridge. I don't know where Walker Basin Creek is. I'm assuming that it is up that draw to the left there where the road goes up to Pampa. Walker Basin is back in those mountains. I had no idea that there was a creek that went from there all the way down to here, but that is what this is called. This is one of the bridges that was wiped out along with the highway bridge for Bena Road, which is Old Highway 466. But this is one of the bridges that was wiped out in the 1983 flood. The next bridge up, which you'll see, is Caliente Creek Bridge, and the water overcame the Caliente Creek turn up there and ran down alongside the tracks here, washed out a bunch of the road bed. I'll post some pictures of that. This is looking east through Bena. You can see all the damage it was done, and this is the Walker Basin Creek Bridge. And came down here, kind of made one creek, and there used to be a signal bridge right about here. That bridge fell over. I'll post a picture of that in here. And a lot of damage was done here in the 83 flood. They replaced the signal bridge with those intermediates there. Those were searchlight signals until 2015. They put these color lights up. But anyway, this is the first bridge between Sandcut and Bakersfield going uphill. We will be going up in mileposts. All right, let's move on down to the next bridge. All right, we are at the second bridge. We're about a little over a mile from the last bridge we were at, which I didn't mention back then when I was at that bridge, but that bridge is right at the bottom of Sandcut Hill. Back there, you've seen a few of the videos that I've done from there. If you haven't seen them, go look them up. Most of those are in the playlist called On the Tehachapi. And right here is the control point at Bena. There are no trains cleared in either direction. The intermediate up there for eastbound was yellow, which means this signal is red. Generally, when they clear a signal, and even if they clear a signal opposed to this, these signals will light red, the opposing signals, whichever direction it's cleared. Some locations are constantly lit, most of them are not. But anyway, that's Bena. You've seen some of the videos I've done from there on how a high-speed turnout works, and a couple of trains that I've shot from there. But anyway, this is the second bridge. This is at milepost 328.21, 328.21 miles from San Francisco, and you see the 1/4 sign there. That means we're a 1/4 of a mile from the last milepost, which would be 328, which is a 1/4 of a mile that way. And every 1/4 of a mile they have those between mileposts. Southern Pacific didn't do that. That is a Union Pacific thing. I actually think it's a pretty good idea. But anyway, blah blah blah, you know me. You can see that it's half of it's steel and half of it's wood. When I came up here and started working on the Tehachapi in 1984, there was a lot more room between the creek bed and the bridge. They had just rebuilt all this stuff and fixed everything and dug some room down underneath the bridge. But in the intervening years, the water has dragged the sand down here, so there isn't even enough room to walk under that, unless you're really short. And this bridge, as with all the other bridges down on this end, in '83 was damaged. This one wasn't wiped out as the one down below was, but it did sustain damage. And as you can see in the photographs that I posted of this, most of this stuff was hanging in the air after that. But this is where Caliente Creek makes its curve to the south and goes that way. That bridge was destroyed, the highway bridge, in the flood of '83. But the water also, when it came down through here in the flood, it made its curve here, did the damage it did. But much of the water went straight. You can see where the bank is there. It's not a very big bank, but it ended up going straight and washing out much of the roadbed and did a lot of damage over on the Bina Corrals over there. All right, well, we have moved down to the third bridge up the hill here. This is a bridge across Caliente Creek, which you can see going off that way and off that way. This bridge used to be a steel deck bridge, like the last one there that's partial steel deck. This one was a full steel deck bridge. I don't recall when they did this. I think they changed this around 2000. I don't remember. I remember them doing it, but I don't remember when. It's just been too many years and too many projects. But you can see that this one has a pretty good distance between the creek bed and the bottom of the bridge. We had a really big rain year in the late 80s, but I came down here and the water was actually hitting the bottom of the bridge. It hadn't started going over the tracks. I don't recall if it ever did actually go over the tracks, but they had people down here watching it to warn trains and stuff. It was a really big deal. I just remember seeing a water heater from a house floating down here. You'd think it would have sunk being steel, but it was floating right along. All right, we are here at the first crossing of Tehachapi Creek. Now that is Tehachapi Creek there, going up the canyon towards the, well, it's down at the bottom of cliff. I really don't have many, I think I might have one video that shows that between 7 and 8, a video that I shot between tunnel 7 and 8 where you can really get a sense of how deep that canyon is. I will link that in the description below and hope everybody watches it. It doesn't have a lot of views and it's really an awesome video. It's in a very remote place. Most of you will never get to see that except on my videos. All right. This bridge during the '83 flood was not damaged, but it is my understanding that the water coming through here was almost to the bottom of the bridge. As I've said in other videos about the '83 flood, I was laid off when that happened. I don't know if I've said that before, but I say it in my tours at the depot. I was laid off during the '83 flood. I was working out in the oil fields running a backhoe. That you can see the guardrail on that bridge down there. That is the that bridge was completely wiped out. That's where the confluence of Tehachapi and Caliente Creek is, right there by that taller tree in the center of the frame. And that road did not survive. That is the community of Caliente. I did a piece on the history of that. I'll link that in the description below. And I also have quite a few videos shot at Caliente. All right, we have moved up to the second crossing of Tehachapi Creek. You can see this is the most sizable structure that we have come to so far. They redecked this recently, all steel across the top. You can see the old steel bottom span. But this is another bridge, was originally a trestle type, and it was lost in the 1932 flood. Now starting up here at this number 2 crossing of Tehachapi Creek, which is down there obviously, Between here and Tehachapi, in 1983, these bridges sustained no damage. They had built better flood control diversion channels up into the foothills of Tehachapi. And so these bridges weathered the 83 flood, no pun intended, pretty well. And this bridge is at the east end of Rowan. I've shot a few videos here. You can go back in my On the Tehachapi playlist and find those. All right, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here. I didn't discuss the bridges that cross the railroad. This is the first bridge that crosses the railroad between Sandcut and Bakersfield. And that is Highway 58, where it crosses at Keene. So that's the bridge over the tracks, and this is the third crossing of Tehachapi Creek. This concrete arch. This was originally a trestle type bridge, and it was lost in the 32 flood. And I will be doing a standalone piece on the flood and the damage it did, particularly here at Woodford. Okay, third crossing of the Tehachapi Creek, and this is at the lower end of Woodford. All right, we have moved up to the upper end of Woodford, actually above the control point. This is the fourth crossing of Tehachapi Creek, and you can see up there just between the fill and my pickup the upper head of the facing signal, the A head for East Woodford. But this is the fourth crossing of the creek, easily the largest bridge, tallest, and I don't know if it's any longer really than the one at Rowan. Maybe it is, I don't know. Never measured either one of them. But significant structure, as you can see. This was originally the trestle type bridge, and it is the one that all the debris backed up behind in 1932. And when the trestle finally gave way, the wall of water that headed down into Woodford and Keene, which estimates were between 35 and 40 feet of water, headed down there. Again, I'll do a piece on the flood. I touched on it briefly in the piece I did on the history of Woodford, how Woodford became Keene. That's in my playlist, Exploring Places. But right there, you can see the remains of one of the original footings for the bridge. There's another one right over there. All right, there's a little shot of the bridge. This is looking west. You can see this is milepost 349.74. They redecked this bridge last year. I actually came up here and was standing right up there taking videos of them doing that work, and I was approached by the manager in charge of that project, and he kindly asked me, and I do mean kindly, was very cool about it, if I wouldn't publish a video of them actually doing the work. I had no problem complying with that. Union Pacific gives me no grief about the videos I shoot, and I'll certainly not give them any grief about that. But that is the control point at East Woodford there. South Woodford for all you newbies. But anyway, fourth crossing of Tehachapi Creek. All right, this is the fifth crossing of the Tehachapi Creek. See Highway 58 right up there. The fourth crossing is just on the other side of that hill. This is where it makes one of the 180-degree curves, and I have shot a train here. That is in the On the Tehachapi playlist and the 180-degree curves playlist. And right up there, you can see a cutaway from the side of the mountain there. That is the Tehachapi Loop. The video that I shot from right on the top of that cut. It's a really cool video. You should go back and look at it. All my videos are really cool. You should go back and look at all of them. That cut, you go through that cut, then as soon as you come out of it, you start making another 180-degree curve and go into the loop, go into Tunnel 9. All right, well, this is the sixth crossing of Tehachapi Creek. This is at the control point of cable, what Southern Pacific called West Cable, but it's just cable Now, this bridge was also one that was lost in the 32 flood. Notice that the point locomotive wasn't running. No biggie. Couple more were, and that's plenty of power to get this guy up the hill. It is pretty chilly today, seeing as how about 45 days ago, this area right here below Tehachapi was reaching up around 100 degrees. Today it's about 50. It's breezy, cloudy as you can see. Feels awesome. I can dress against the cold. I cannot dress against the heat. You run around naked when it's hot, and it's still hot. All right, eastbound BNSF at the 6th crossing of Tehachapi Creek at Cable. We are at the 7th crossing of the Tehachapi Creek. You can see the tracks up there, and it's really hard to see. You can see that it's not that hard to see, but this is about the only place I can even see any of it from. These trees are all grown around it, but that is where Tehachapi Creek goes under the tracks the 7th time. And I know I said I wasn't going to shoot culverts, but that is a very, very good sized culvert. That thing is probably about, I don't know, 15 feet in diameter. And you can see down there at the bottom where they've got the concrete steps that keep it from just digging a big hole down there. And you can see that when the water is high and coming through there at volume, you can see the cut that it makes back there. It has, over the years, has kept digging that out, digging that out. I did walk around over there and look this way and made sure that I wasn't going to be standing anywhere where the ground was undermined, and it is not. But anyway, that is the 7th crossing of Tehachapi Creek. All right, well, if you get off of Highway 58 onto the 202 exit in Tehachapi, or if you are in Tehachapi over there and you want to get back on 58, this is the bridge that crosses the tracks. Train sitting here right now, but Highway 58 is just beyond that. The reason I wanted to stop here, there he goes. The reason I wanted to stop here for a couple of reasons. You can see this fill right here. Well, that is where the bridge, the 202 bridge, used to be. And the bridge was actually on a curve, and it went right over there and connected just on the other side there. And the funny story I have about that is when this bridge was still here, around 2000, I met with Caltrans people. We had cable underground here, and the water service had a water pipe underground, and they were going to retrofit the bridge that was here. and we showed them where our stuff was. We were going to have to move it. We came, big project, dug our cable out, spliced onto it, moved it around the bridge pilings so they wouldn't tear it up when they put the new bridge in. We did all that. They upgraded the bridge, spent all that money on it, and about 3 or 4 years later tore it down and built that bridge. Incredible. All right, now that he's out of the way, the other thing I want to show you is this little Bridgette right here. No offense to any beautiful woman named Bridgette. But you can see it's just a little, there's some hills and some elevation changes over there. Holy cats, here comes another train. I guess we'll catch this guy before I get to finish my story. I started this adventure at about 9:30 this morning, 10 o'clock. It is now about 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm just now starting to see trains. Nice pretty engine. I don't know if it's freshly painted or brand new. Sorry for the wigglies, the wind's blowing me all over the place. We are just beyond the point where the train has to be slowed down to 23 miles per hour. That is the speed limit for trains up or down the hill from here to Caliente. Hope there were no cars in there when they tagged that opera back. All right. Westbound UP headed down the hill here at Tehachapi, between Tehachapi and Creek. I can see the signals up across over, they're all red, so they haven't even cleared. All right, getting back to the dealer, you can see here that this is just pretty much just a little ditch here. It comes from that area across the way. And you can see it's pretty much the same thing over here. There's just really not much over here. But these two little things here combine to create Tehachapi Creek, which starts running there along the side of the cut there below the bridge. And within about 300 or 400 yards down here, this thing is about 50 feet deep and about 100 feet wide. So it cuts quickly. All right. All right, well, that will conclude my little adventure, starting right here at Tehachapi, at this little thing that's not even considered a bridge or a creek. Anyway, between here and Bakersfield, the Bakersfield Yard, there are probably about 30 small culverts and little bridges like this I'll put together from things like this. Some are a little bigger than this, but none are any longer. Maybe there'll be a little tributary under it's a little deeper, maybe it's a canal, But no significant structures. Some of us, culverts as small as 12 inches in diameter. But there are a lot of places that water goes under the railroad, and I just wanted to point out the major ones and two major places where the freeway goes over the railroad. All right, keep shooting those ideas at me, and I can't remember who asked me to do this, but thanks for the idea. I'm glad I was able to do it. Drop your ideas in the comments below. Shoot me an email at motorport59@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content, and we will see you on the next adventure.